the holiday season. It's supposed to be this joyous time, full of warmth and connection. But sometimes when we look at our aging family members, what we see, it just doesn't match that picture.
Right.
I'm thinking of the story about a man, Mr. Alvarez. He used to be the guy who loved decorating, the first one to pull out all the boxes.
The architect of the whole thing.
Exactly. But this here, he's just standing there, staring at this tangled mess of lights, and he mutters, "It's too much," and then he just walks away. His family was just baffled.
And that's the moment right there. The family sees disinterest. They might even think, he's being deliberately difficult or that his personality is changing.
Yeah, that he's just not in the spirit.
But our deep dive into the research, it tells a totally different story. Behaviorally, this isn't some kind of moral failure. It's a completely predictable response to an environment that is demanding way too much.
And that's our mission for this deep dive. We're getting into why the holidays are so full of extra and how all that extra stuff, the lights, the noise, the demands, it creates cognitive overload. We have to shift how we see this.
We do.
Holiday overwhelm isn't a lack of spirit. It's a capacity mismatch in the aging brain.
That phrase, capacity mismatch, that's the whole idea right there. It's the key. Think of it like this, and this really helps caregivers get the science of it.
Okay.
Imagine trying to run, 10 really demanding apps on an old smartphone. One that only has 1 gig of RAM.
Right, it would freeze up.
Exactly. The system doesn't just shut down right away. First it slows down, it starts to lag, and then eventually it just locks up. The environment is demanding 10 apps of focus and the brain. It just has the capacity for 2.
So what we see is withdrawal.
It's not a choice to be difficult. It's an act of self-protection. It's essential. When you see that refusal, what you need to understand is that the person has hit their absolute cognitive limit. The brain is instinctively shutting down processes to just survive the moment.
This gets to that heartbreaking question you hear from caregivers all the time. Why can't he just wrap one gift? He's been doing it for 50 years.
Because it's not a simple task anymore. What used to be one intuitive, flowing action is now. It's broken up into a series of really demanding little steps. The brain struggles with sequencing those steps together.
Chaining them.
Yes, chaining them.
Yeah.
It registers the effort required to manage all that complexity, not the familiarity of the end result. We think we're failing to motivate them, but what's really happening is we're failing to simplify the process for them.
Okay, let's unpack this then. If it's a capacity mismatch, let's really get specific about the environmental triggers. What is it about the holidays that pushes that capacity to the limit so fast?
Well, we've identified 4 main behavioral triggers.
Yeah.
And they all kind of work together to just deplete the system.
Okay.
The first one is the disruption of routine. Daily rhythms, the scheduled breakfast, the predictable afternoon rest, the way you wind down in the evening.
They're anchors.
They are. They're stabilizing anchors for the brain. They provide predictability. And when those routines are just suddenly replaced by spontaneous plans, weird meal times, guests coming and going, the brain has to spend all its energy just reorienting itself.
The internal map of the day is just gone. And that would cause anyone to feel anxious or kind of adrift.
Precisely. And running right alongside that is the problem of task complexity. We call these chain tasks. Holiday activities are full of them.
So like baking a special recipe.
Perfect example. It requires reading, measuring, sequencing the ingredients, managing the time, remembering the oven settings. If you miss just one of those steps, the whole thing is derailed. And the frustration, it just mounts immediately.
Even something that seems simple, like stringing popcorn for the tree.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a motor skill sequence, a focus challenge, and a time management problem all in one.
Exactly. The brain sees it as a huge, daunting project. Then the third trigger is one we all feel, but it's just magnified for them. Ramped up social pressure.
The gatherings.
Yes. They require this enormous amount of cognitive juggling. You're trying to come up with quick replies in conversation, filter out all the background noise, retrieve names, remember stories for small talk.
And maintain eye contact. It's a lot.
It creates this intense performance anxiety. If they feel like they might fail, that they won't deliver the right response quickly enough, just withdrawing is the safer, easier option.
And then there's the fourth trigger, which I think has to be the most overwhelming one. Sensory overload.
It's the ultimate bottleneck. It's that constant holiday cocktail of flashing lights, overlapping conversations, music from another room, strong new smells from candles and baking.
Constant movement.
Yes, guests coming and going. The aging brain, it loses its ability to selectively filter things out. It tries to process the background music, the conversation next to you, and the blinking lights all with equal effort.
So what looks like them being bored or lazy is actually their brain running this incredibly complex routine, just trying to silence the environment enough to hear one person speak.
That's the subtlety of it. Even tiny changes, a new decoration creating clutter, a different scented candle, all of that requires processing power. So what looks calm on the outside might be cognitively maxed out on the inside.
So if these behaviors are really feedback, how do we spot the signals before it gets to the point of distress? What are those quiet cues we need to watch for?
You have to look for the subtle signs that the brain is getting ready to withdraw. Things like pausing at a doorway before entering a busy room. It's like they're calculating the risk.
Or abandoning a task halfway through.
Yes, abandoning half-started tasks with no explanation. Or you see them resting more, but they don't look relaxed. They look agitated.
That non-relaxed rest, that's a sign the system is still running hard, even if they're sitting still.
Absolutely. Also, look for shorter patience, or their speech might slow down. Maybe they're sighing more often. Or they'll say things like, I just can't think right now. These aren't outbursts, they're communications. The capacity gauge is hitting empty.
What's fascinating here is this pattern you mentioned, this idea of diminished bandwidth. Why is it that mornings so often go well, but by the late afternoon, everything just falls apart?
It's because the brain has been spending that limited energy all day long on tiny decisions, on small talk, on navigating all these unexpected moments. That mental energy isn't unlimited.
It's like a battery draining.
It's exactly like a
Yes.
battery. By late afternoon, they're running on fumes. So even a tiny disruption, a loud laugh from across the room, an unexpected visitor at the door, it feels huge because there's no capacity left to buffer the impact.
And this isn't just anecdotal, right? There's research behind this.
No, it's not. It's supported by research. There was a 2019 study in the gerontologists that found when environmental complexity, so the combination of noise and unpredictability, was increased, it led to a sharp rise in cognitive load.
So what did that mean for the people in this study?
Well, the data showed that for every couple of extra minutes they spent just trying to process distracting noise, their reaction times and decision-making just slowed down dramatically. It confirms the brain is expending these precious resources just trying to tune out the holiday chaos.
And other organizations have pointed this out too.
Yes, the Alzheimer's Association has reinforced for years that overstimulation is one of the most common triggers for agitation and confusion.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. Let's shift from understanding the problem to the actual solutions. How do we, as caregivers, implement strategies that keep the season warm and peaceful?
We focus on 5 core strategies, and they're all about actively shrinking and softening the environment.
Okay.
The first one is simple. Shrink the holiday. Instead of the whole multi-room decorating marathon, focus on one small tradition they enjoy. One tree. One bowl of ornaments.
Just one thing.
One thing. Small, clearly defined steps are easier to complete.
Yeah.
And easier to celebrate.
But what about the risk there? If Mr. Alvarez used to love pulling out all the lights, aren't we kind of robbing him of that big joy by simplifying it so much?
That's a crucial question. But we're not denying the joy. We're protecting the possibility of joy. If we present him with all the tangled lights at once, he walks away and feels failure.
Right.
But if we present one small, untangled strand and just ask for help with that, we've engineered success. It's about choosing quality, engaged participation over just high volume.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. What's the second strategy?
The second one is to keep holiday micro-routines. Even when the calendar is a mess, you protect a few predictable touch points.
Like what?
Maybe it's the same morning coffee ritual no matter what, or making sure that afternoon rest happens in the same quiet chair. Or even just playing the same short holiday playlist during meal prep. These things act as mental handholds when everything else is chaotic.
And the third strategy, for tasks, is to provide structure without pressure.
Exactly. You're minimizing the need for constant decision-making. You use visual cues. So instead of saying, let's get the decorations, you put one manageable bin out. If you're baking, you put out one printed recipe card, not the whole cookbook. It guides the activity without being a demand.
And the fourth strategy has to be about the social side.
It does. Simplify social gatherings. You have to mandate shorter visits. Keep the guest list small, maybe stagger when people arrive. And always have a designated quiet corner where they can go retreat.
And an exit plan.
Always have a graceful, pre-planned exit strategy, a little phrase or a signal that means it's time to go. without any fuss.
And the fifth strategy, this seems to be about mindset. Celebrate participation, not performance.
Yes, success is the behavior, not the output. If they hung one ornament, that is perfect. If they stirred the batter once, that's enough. You honor the effort, you validate the contribution, and you don't require them to finish the whole task.
This focus on dignity and control seems so vital. The sources really stress offering choice, not commands.
It's everything.
So instead of put this ornament up, you ask, which one of these two should we put up first? That little choice gives back a sense of control.
It restores their agency. And we really can't overstate the power of predictability. Predictability is a lifeline. Unexpected arrivals are a massive stressor.
So you announce visitors.
You announce them, Aunt Sally will be here in 10 minutes. Or let your loved one choose their seat when a new person comes in. It gives them some control in a space that's changing fast.
What about those moments that just feel like pure stubbornness, like refusing to wear a special holiday outfit?
It's almost never about stubbornness. Refusing an outfit is usually about the sensory demand, the texture, the layers, the stiffness of new fabric. So you offer two simple, soft options that are comfortable, instead of one fancy one that adds to the sensory input.
And what if the rest of the family really wants that big party, but your loved one clearly needs quiet? You can't always control everyone.
Then you create the dual holiday. You have a quiet, simple celebration with your loved one first. Prioritize their comfort. Then you can have the bigger, noisier one later with the rest of the family. It validates everyone's needs.
It's not an either-or.
Exactly. So let's circle back to Mr. Alvarez. When he stood there and said, "It's too much," he wasn't being difficult. He was communicating his limit. We have to honor the pace of the aging brain by shrinking the steps and softening our expectations.
Right.
And if you need a simple rule, to share with relatives who might not get it, who might be quick to judge, just tell them this. When the environment gets louder, their independence gets quieter.
That's a great line. It sums it all up.
It's that direct relationship between sensory input and cognitive drain.
And to leave you with one final thought to carry into the season, listen very closely for this question. Are we almost done? When you hear your loved one ask that, recognize it for what it is. It's a critical behavior signal. That question means, I'm tracking how much energy I have left, and I need to know where the finish line is so I can preserve my remaining bandwidth.
Don't just brush it off.
Don't dismiss it, offer reassurance, and give them a simple, concrete timeline. Yes, we are. 10 more minutes of this, and then we're going to take a break. That simple response restores control, it restores predictability, and it helps them manage their energy budget for the rest of the day. Because remember, your loved one needs a calm you far more than they need a perfect holiday.